It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Jackson Williams. The college football spring transfer portal window opened today, and former Vols quarterback Nico has officially entered the transfer portal with a no-contact tag, according to Pete Nakos of On3. In former Titans news, the quarterback Logan Woodside has agreed to a one-year deal with the Bengals. Woodside, a seventh-round pick of the Bengals in 2018, played with the Titans from 2019 to 2022. NBA play-in underway, and the Memphis Grizzlies fell to the Golden State Warriors last night, 121-116. The Grizz fight to keep their playoff hopes alive as they will play the winner of tonight's game between the Dallas Mavericks and Sacramento Kings on Friday, with a first-round playoff spot on the line. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. I got a fun little show planned today because I was sitting there talking with Joseph and Jackson. We were reading Nico's side of things. Apparently
from front office?
From front office sports. Yeah. Apparently Nico didn't ask for more money, like give me a freaking break or whatever about that. And then we saw Urban Meyer's comments, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But I think we came up with a way to fix the NCAA. This issue, the NIL, at least the football collective.
Resolutions.
I think we came up with something. Jackson just kind of sat there. He didn't really put in a lot of input, but he was in the room.
I thought you did.
Yeah, but he was in the room. I'm going to give him a little bit of credit for being there. Just, being, not being absent, just being there, being present. So I'm going to bring that in the next segment. But this segment, something that I totally forgot that I wanted to talk to you about. Was yesterday it was announced that Colorado was retiring Travis Hunter's jersey and Shedeur Sanders' jersey. Yeah. And allegedly this was negotiated into the new contract. Now, there is a whole conference championship team that has yet to have any of their jerseys retired. So let's just start with this. Let's look at the two players in a vacuum. I understand Travis Hunter. Not really do I understand Shedeur Sanders. What are your thoughts on these two?
Hey, man, I always keep it 100. I don't think either one of them should be in the Hall of Fame. Let's first start with there should be some form of a board when you are trying to retire players' jersey numbers. Let me start listening. Listen, Cordell Stewart, Darian Hagan. They had a national championship team with Eric Bieniemy at running back, Michael Westbrook at corner, Deion Figures, at corner, at wide receiver Westbrook. There are some other players, and I'm not even mentioning both of the guys on the D-line. I remember watching these guys in college, Alfred Williams and the other guy, it slips my name. They haven't even been mentioned. They got a national championship. There's a chronological order and a way to go about business, and I get it if he wants to put that in his contract. And
allegedly.
Allegedly. And let's say if it was true, you say, okay, yeah, we'll do that, but at the right time. And the right time is we need to now go put in some other players who have been here before who deserve it. We did win a national championship. I know it's been years,
right?
But so if you wanted to do that, then that's cool. So to me, that is the only issue I have with. Then they could put both of those guys in. I don't have a problem with Shedeur or I know a lot of people have problems with Shedeur, but I don't have a problem with him getting in at all. I just, hey, that's what the university thinks he deserves, and the coach. I think that's fine.
I thought there was an interesting point about the Shedeur Sanders side that was brought up by Joel Klatt, saying everything that kind of Shedeur did for the program in terms of just I guess, being who he is there at Colorado, playing the quarterback position, bringing the national spotlight, changing the program from within.
Well, he was part of
and he's part of it with
turnaround.
Dion and Travis and the turnaround. But again, I think my big hangup is the players from the national championship team.
Exactly.
First off, what are you waiting for, Colorado? That's in the 90s.
Yeah, that was crazy, man.
I mean, this is kind of ridiculous, right? That they have retired no numbers. You haven't been in an especially good program since then.
Yes.
Why not celebrate the one a good bit of happiness you've had in between then and now? Like, I am just floored by it.
Yeah, I was stunned too. But, yeah, I think those guys deserve it. I just think there's a way you go about it. I mean, hey, there was the national championship team.
Yeah.
What they did was turn around a program that was bad. What do you think it was harder, even in their heyday, Colorado, winning a national championship, and then even being in the hunt even the year after that? It's just so more eyeballs. I get a lot of more media today with social media, but we must not forget what came before them years before. So yeah, they had some dudes. I mean, all of these guys I named played in the NFL. Chad Brown, this is a guy who had pet snakes and all that, and I think he was with the Steelers and the Broncos, maybe, or something, It's they had.
Hey, listen, quarterback was Vance Joseph, who is a coach for Denver. Head coach for Denver back in the day.
All over because they had a recruiting base from West Coast to Texas. They recruited a lot of those players are from Texas as well. Yeah. McGahee, not the running back.
Right.
I maybe pronounced the guy's name wrong, but he was an out on defensive side.
McGee, probably.
McGee.
Canavis McGee.
Canavis McGee and Alfred Williams.
Yep.
Was on the other side. And both those guys were drafted high. Alfred Williams was the first-round pick.
And this is a name that, I think a lot of people that probably remember Madden back in the day. Christian Faria, the tight end.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he was really good.
Really good. I mean, I look
played
at
against him in the pros. I think he's with the Seahawks.
I just look at it and I go, because someone's like Timothy Howe says in the F&M Bank channel, Twitter to YouTube, Facebook Live, who cares? Well, I think it says a lot about, to me, it says a lot about priorities. Mm-hmm. And it tells me that Colorado has had the wrong priorities for a while now, not just since hiring Dion. This isn't just Dion, because it's not Dion's fault these guys aren't in.
Right. That's
now,
not on him.
You can put the blame that two other kids are getting their jerseys retired before these guys, sure. But they've had plenty of opportunity to retire some of these jersey numbers from a championship team. And the fact that they haven't done it yet tells me a lot about the priorities that they've had as a program.
Yeah, in the leadership. And it's been a, turnstile. So I think that's what I would have only debated. Who they think should be in or not in, that's on them. I'm not going to prejudge.
That's their business.
There are a lot of people, Shador shouldn't be in. I saw a lot of that. And nothing about Travis and Hunter. Naturally, everybody, loves him and he won the Heisman. So deservingly so. But, when you're the quarterback on a polarizing team with your dad as the coach and then you turn around two different programs, and specifically, Colorado, there's some parts of me that say, hey, he's just deserving. If you think he should be in, then he's in. I'm not going to debate it one bit. I'm not there. I don't understand what he, really did for the program like they think. So I'm not on the ground. And they won. I mean, he only won probably, I don't know, 15, 18 games. I don't know. So, I mean, you got to look at his record versus some other guys. I mean, it kind of will tell you where he should be.
Right.
But come on, man. But if you think he's in, okay.
Why do you think that Shiloh Sanders wasn't in that part of the negotiation? Why is his jersey not getting retired?
Oh, no. No, he's in.
See, if I was Dion, I would have put Shiloh Sanders, try to retire his number in there, and then everybody would be like, well, why are you retiring Shador? They're all going to be focused on Shiloh being his jersey retired.
Oh, no, I think he knew not to go down that road.
Well, speaking of not going down that road, can you believe that Nico's camp is coming out and saying this? Now, they've been pretty adamant that this has not been about money, because if you remember when the original report by Pete Nichols came out, they were very specific, both the coach that is their family friend and his dad, that they have not asked for more money. But are we really trying to really get us to buy in that you weren't asking for more money? I find that very suspect that it was all of an altruistic reason of, well, we just want what's best for our kid. We have to have an offensive line. We have to have a wide receiver. We don't care about the money. We care about other people coming in to protect him. Like, I get that they want him protected.
Yeah, I mean,
because he cracked 2 helmets the last year.
Yeah, concussions, no doubt.
So, but at the end of the day, I mean, who are you trying to fool?
Yeah, that one's a hard pill to swallow there, to believe, to be honest. Even if it was just a notch up on pave and it was $500 a mil, whatever it would have been. I'm not even going to say it was $4 million, but I'm going to say, yeah, he wanted to bump and pay. Hey, you getting me killed out here. Give me some linemen, give me some receivers. And then I would have come back to him at that moment in December and said, if we get the receivers, you can't have both. We can't give you a bump and pay. They should have just said it right then. That's it. We're going to do everything we can to accommodate you because guess what? We want to win just as much as you do.
Right.
And then the discussion would have been over, and then their actions would have spoken on what they wanted. Now, they gave some contracts or some money to certain players there, Matthews and who else?
Matthews and Boo Carter, a safety, but he was also the return specialist last year, is going to be involved in the offense as well. They added a couple of transfer portal offensive linemen. And, they did some things that looked to improve the offense.
Mm-hmm. And so, hey, I don't know if it was more the pro style that he wanted to have some tweaks in the offense that they really wanted to maybe help and think they could help. But there's another thing here we must not forget. Coaches have egos, and now all of a sudden now you're going to try to tell me what I want to do with my offense?
Yeah.
I don't know about that one, boy. That's a tough one there. Better be real careful and tread a little line there on that. Ultimately, I hear all the stations and everybody's even nationally talking about Nico. I think if I want UT to do well, and that's why I keep focusing on UT. Who is UT going to get? Mm-hmm. I could care less about Nico. He's gone. Bye. Let the back door hit you on the way out, bro. Who are you getting? Well, guess what? Now they're going to be watching UT now with this tampering because this is a vital time. This is not like the free time where you can just go roam around. They are watching. See, they are in. That's why I said they didn't play this right. Everybody can laugh at me and be mad at me all you want to.
I got some people mad at me in my text. I'm
telling you right now, you should be focusing, Tennessee, on who is your quarterback. And guess what your answer is? You don't have one.
I will say
that is an issue.
There is a 5-star recruit quarterback in the transfer portal currently, and I hear he's cheap. His name is Nico. Jackson, what you got? Me. I almost got you. I saw you're on the edge of your seat.
It's just, I looked at the portal. I never looked at the portal.
It was not. It's not pretty in there. There's a bunch of guys that feel like they're made up names. Remember those names I read you the other night or the other day for the defensive line? Like you might as well be those guys. What you got?
It's going to be incredibly difficult for Tennessee to get a blue chip established starter in the spring window.
And it was much easier in the winter. There are at least 4 other quarterbacks in the winter that maybe you would have had a chance at to at least maintain the level of success. And that is the issue that I have with UT is that their process was flawed from the get-go.
And maybe they didn't think he would actually do it.
But maybe I mean, I don't know. Apparently, he, if you believe the reports,
in December,
before the game and after the game, he came to them. I think at that point, a spade's a spade.
Yep, you start saying we need to start looking for
neon signs. This is like going on a date, and your date shows up with an axe, a bloody axe. Okay, he or she's got a bloody axe in her hand, and you continue on with the date.
Oh my god!
And then you're surprised you got your head chopped off later. This was a neon sign that there was something wrong with Nico's side of things, or in his camp.
Oh, I can't wait till we cut that up.
Yeah, but listen. We're going to fix this NCAA NIL mess when we come back. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
My neck hurts. Struggling with joint pain, suffering from a recent injury, looking to recover faster after surgery? Well, at Edge, we've got you covered. From powerful peptide stacks like BPC 157 to TB 500 to the PRP treatments and stem cell therapy. And they also have high film muscle stimulation. Edge Peptide is your go-to solution for faster healing and recovery. And as an athlete myself, I know how frustrating pain and injuries can be. That's why now is the perfect time to take control of your wellness and finally address those nagging issues. Whether it's golf, tennis, or any activity you love, don't let pain hold you back any longer. And as Edge specializes in regenerative treatments designed to reduce inflammation, promote tissue repair, and improve mobility, helping your body heal naturally while avoiding surgery whenever possible. And right now, we're offering a free $250 consultation with your initial treatment. And all you have to do is just go to edgepeptide.com. Yes, that's edgepeptide.com. Or you can give them a call today at 615, of course, 724-1878. That's 724-1878.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Stores. 615-737-1045 is the number. So we've been talking about this UT process and how we feel that they had plenty of time, plenty of opportunity, and plenty of red flags to say, hey, we need to get into the transfer portal in winter, get rid of Nico and all this kind of stuff. And there's a lot of people now that are, a lot of fans say right now that he's mid. They're glad he's gone. I get the sentiment, understand it. But I would say this, and I'm going to, Jackson, if you want to answer this question. Let's say back in December, they decide to do the smart thing and let Nico go after he asked twice for a raise. One before the playoff game, one before the transfer portal closed. And then he goes in the transfer portal. He gets paid, a couple, a mil or two more than what he's getting paid now. Somewhere else. UT fans' reactions to the UT's decision to let him hit the portal would be what?
Probably drastically overblown in the beginning, and everything would be on fire.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I figured it'd be like, everybody be like, why didn't you pay him that money instead of letting him hit the transfer portal? But now they're okay because all this other stuff happened in between now and then. So, sometimes you win in the eyes of fans just based on PR, and Nico's camp very bad at PR.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it just is hey, I want people to be reasonable here. They're saying that they paid him so much money and he's set. Guess what? You guys agreed to that. Sorry, you agreed to that. That's no different than when a first rounder gets drafted at quarterback. Oh, a la the late great McNair, and he said, "How you think I felt?" 3 years before he started. How about that? Well, nobody complaining in our locker room about that he's set. He wasn't ready. We saw him in practice.
Yeah.
See, so at the end of the day, you agreed to the principles and you knew he needed development, especially his body at that point in time. So don't try to go back and think, well, we gave you for that's not how it works. See,
they don't owe you anything anymore.
Right.
And then listen, that's why we're going to fix it.
There is no Mr. Nice Guy, even to Nico. There's no, you getting paid. Now you a pro, bro. Yeah. That's how this is going to go from everybody here on out.
We got to quit. The logo doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If this would have happened elsewhere, it doesn't matter. That is how the NCAA is being ran right now. But guess what? Me and Joseph fixed it on this sheet of paper and these poorly crude drawings.
Oh, y'all came up with a plan?
We fixed it. We came up with a plan.
Uh-oh.
So
there's
two
masterminds, man.
So kind of like the NFLPA and the NFL, you're going to have 3 bodies, though, because we need to have the NIL collective. NIL needs its own governing body and representation of a collective. Yes.
Okay. First, before you get started, I just want to say I want Nick Saban the head of all these 3 principal bodies.
Okay.
That's what I want.
Well, that was going to be one of the questions I was going to ask.
Did y'all put a commissioner in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
So here's what we got. So we got the NCAA side. So we got whoever, if you want it to be the NCAA committee as a whole, or if you want one person over the NCAA that is voted on by the conference commissioners.
Okay.
So let's look at this. Conference commissioners are your NFL owners, essentially. Mm-hmm. They represent the NFL owners. So that means that if they want to get an NCAA commissioner for that side of the governing body, which is probably long overdue, there you go. Okay, so there's one side.
Okay.
Then every conference commissioners, of course, it continues on with the same power that they have. They represent the teams and all that kind of stuff. Then you got the NIL side of things. So that's governing body number 2, where the team collectives have conference delegations. So the team collectives, all the alumni and all that, vote for conference delegates. And then there's one guy over the conference delegates. So they represent the NIL. Mm-hmm. That's kind of how you would set your salary cap. You look at the budgets and all this kind of stuff.
That's supposed to be the same via conference.
Yeah, so it's going to be all for one conference. You get what I'm saying? So each conference has its own representative that represents all the teams.
Well, you're going to restrict one conference. I know it's Power 4 now, but naturally the SEC and the Big Ten have more money than the other two.
Well, that's what everybody's got to negotiate and figure out here. You know, what I'm saying they got to do that.
I'm ready to branch off. I'm the SEC.
You're ready to branch out.
Can't tell me how much I want to pay my guy.
Okay, so but here's where the players come in. This is a question I have for the listeners. First off, we're going to have an NCAA Players Association president.
Okay.
Then each conference has one former player, alumni, that is a representative of the conference. So for the SEC, we floated the name out there. Maybe it should be Peyton Manning. Mm-hmm. And if you wanted to branch this out to coaches and maybe the SEC is represented by Nick Saban, that would be fine with me too. Mm-hmm. But we figured each conference should have his own player representative that is a former player.
Like a player rep.
Yeah, player rep. And then each team under each conference has its own rep that is a current football player. Okay. So there you go. So that, I think, having a players delegation, an NIL delegation, NCAA delegation, and to come together, make the rules, figure out, how contracts are going to work, figure out how the salary cap or CBA and all this stuff, and come together and build a CBA. And it's going to be mainly filled with the conference commissioners, accountants, and high-priced alumni, I guess you would say, for the NIL. Successful businessmen, more than likely, and women. And former players or former coaches with an NCAA Players Association president there. So that you got the player side, the coaches side, you got the NIL collective, and you got the commissioners. They should be able to figure out how to govern the wild, wild west of the NIL right now.
Ooh,
what do you think?
That's a lot, but I think you guys did a good job in your 15 minutes.
We did. And look, it only took us 6 minutes to figure that out.
Yeah. I mean, like, if some callers have some idea, I'd be open to it. I mean, this is off the cuff, at least for me.
Yeah.
So, but on the surface, that sounds pretty good. I think at some point, I'm wondering when they're going to get there because they have to go through some court system, right? Is there any way to just branch off and start this all on your own without the NCAA, at least for football? Is that how we work in this or no?
Well, we're trying to do this just for football.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
But you probably need... I don't really know the legal ramifications of trying to just, overthrow the NCAA. I mean, that's pretty much maybe what you have to do. Like, no... The NCAA is essentially the most neutered organization of people, I guess you would say,
in sports. Have a lot of power. Yeah.
But I think that the conference commissioners can help boost that power and get them back on the right track and appoint an NCAA commissioner. And maybe that is, to your point, Nick Saban. Does everybody trust Nick Saban to be NCAA commissioner? Call in and let us know. Do you have someone that you feel in the SEC, a former player coach, would best represent them, represent the player side of things in this whole thing? Let us know. I mean, like I said, me and Joseph, our first instincts were Peyton Manning, but maybe it's someone different. I know that Joseph also said Nick Saban like you. Maybe we need to figure... I said that who could represent Alabama was Jay Barker. I feel like he's a guy that has been around a long time, former Alabama quarterback. He's a well-known public speaker, very smart guy. I think that he's a guy that could, represent Alabama in that way and all that kind of stuff. So give us a call, 615-737-1045. Jackson, what you got? You look like you're ready to talk.
I was going to suggest Peyton Manning for college football overlord.
College football overlord. So you want Omaha Productions to come in and run this thing.
Oh yeah, let the sheriff be the sheriff.
So let me ask you this: if you're going to let the sheriff be the sheriff, you obviously got Peyton Manning. At what point is Tom Brady going to come in and try to be the counterpart to Peyton Manning, try to overtake the sheriff, overtake the overlord? Because at some point, he probably likely will want to, right? I mean, Tom Brady, Big Ten, represents the Big Ten. Peyton Manning represents the SEC.
You love pitting people against each other for competition.
I do. I love it.
But at the same time, he could just be over the Big Ten.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying. He's over the Big Ten, but they're going to have to work together. And so maybe he's angling behind the scenes, Blaine.
Let's just reunite the top quarterbacks of the 2000s across the different conferences.
Either one of them have time. So they're making $40 million, whatever they're doing.
Why don't you get the best UT quarterback, T. Martin, to do it?
But he's only the best because he won a national championship?
Yeah.
That makes you the best.
That makes you the best?
So you have.
I disagree with that.
So here's what I would do: Tom Brady over the Big Ten, Peyton Manning over the SEC.
Okay.
You have Ben Roethlisberger over the MAC.
All right.
Just all of the different 2000 quarterbacks from all these different conferences. That's who you get to
Where
run
does
these.
Eli fit in all this? Is he just
He's co-chair.
You think he's co-chair? You think Peyton's going to allow him to be co-chair?
Vice
Or do you think
chair.
he's like notary, SEC notary?
Vice chair, probably, just under Peyton.
That would be funny. All right, let's go to Ryan, who wants to talk about some college football. Ryan, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Man, a good name for you guys to think about it would be Eric Berry. He cares about the players and he cares about the conference. And he cares about the game, so that would be a good option. I'd love to hear you guys take on him. Thank you guys. Have a happy Easter.
You too. Ryan, I like that. I think Eric Berry's a good one. Blaine, would you be willing to step in for the MAC?
Oh, no, they got Big Ben Roethlisberger.
Okay.
I'll be the co-chair to him.
You'll be the co-chair?
There's probably some other MAC players. MAC has produced some quarterbacks. I don't know who the other ones, but they had some quarterbacks. They had some pretty good players.
Doesn't it always have to be quarterbacks?
Yeah. Well, that's what society has, programmed us to do. The only quarterbacks are the smart guys. So.
Oh, well, listen. Bryce brings up a good point down here. Could Peyton Manning have a conflict of interest because of Arch Manning? Yeah, we get thumbs up from conflict of interest. So we can't use Peyton Manning and we can't use Eli.
Conflict of interest.
Conflict of interest.
For what?
Joe Blacko says, let's bring in Johnny Manziel and Jamarcus Russell.
That's just as
Johnny Manziel can represent the NIL
that is not
side.
His son. It's a relative that no. I don't think that's a conflict of interest.
I feel like Johnny Manziel is how college football is already run.
Yes.
There would be no changes.
There would be no changes.
Because college football is on crack.
Yeah, that's why I never thought this game was going to translate, man. That dude was running around like he was still in high school, man. It was crazy what he was doing, though. It was incredible.
Hey, listen, we could bring in Dwayne The Rock Johnson. This comes from Casey Jones to represent the ACC since he played at Miami. So there you go. Oh. See, we're getting some good ones. Oh, here we go. I can't believe we didn't think of this.
For who?
Well, I will say Kenny Money's the one who said that, and this is the first name that pops up that's from the station, and that's Ron Slay. Oh, so what if Ron Slay, but he would be for basketball purposes. Right, so maybe you have Ramon Foster for football purposes.
Yeah, there you go.
This is a good one. This is a good one, Blaine. Why not let Reggie Bush to exact his revenge on the NCAA and be the NCAA Players Association president? This is Britt Reed. Yeah. What do y'all think? Let Reggie Bush exact his revenge and be the guy that fights for behalf of all players.
I think the NCAA would be very scared walking into those negotiations. What is Reggie going to do?
Yeah, I love it. But I think this is the way that it eventually has to go, though. You have to have 3 delegations at this point because the NIL is not always going to fight on behalf of the players, and they're not always going to be on the behalf of they're kind of almost a neutral scenario because they also got to look at their own money and the money of other people trying to figure out how to regulate this. But you got to have someone representative of the players to watch out for their best interests. And listen, you got to protect the game. I mean, for all the flaws of Roger Goodell and the previous NFL commissioners before him, I genuinely do think they do have the game's best interests in terms of entertainment value, at least, in mind. And you're going to have that corporate kind of side. It's a necessary evil. I know everybody wants to abolish the idea of the NCAA, but you still have to have something to fill that void. It's a necessary evil in some cases.
I still want them to branch off and still do this, but branch off from the NCAA. I guess you can still have a NCAA player president, but I don't want to be part of their rules. And I don't know if it's just for football though. I think basketball still should be attached to the NCAA. I don't know why do you think that way?
Okay, well, I was going to ask you why.
I feel that way. It's because they create so much revenue and everything through the basketball, especially the NCAA tournament. I just think football, the powers that be, I think you're trying to contain too much of what the powers are, the Big Ten and the SEC, And even with this salary cap, that's why I said, is it going to go up every year with the NIL and all these things? So it becomes, it's pro sports. That's what it is. And I think they should be able to set their own rules, how they should go about their business, and really not the NCAA.
I think
under their umbrella.
One of the issues I've had in the beginning is that there's so many sports for so many schools that's really going to be really hard to govern it equitably.
Right.
And
then don't forget Title IX. So this part of this whole equation.
I look at it and I go, you have to start establishing rules and regulations, because not only if you have less, you're always going to have less in this world. And sometimes maybe that is just how it's always going to be. But then the less, if they have like a swim team or a track team, they're probably getting less than anybody, and it's just really hard. I was always for players getting paid, but it's like, okay, we ruled that players getting paid. Boom, it's open. That shouldn't have been how it went down. No. There should have been more regulations put on. And I just don't understand how. I understand how it got to this point, but I don't understand why they let it get to this point from the sense of the courts, right? Because courts can, assign arbiters and, all these people to govern personal finances of people. I feel like they should have had a plan in place where some kind of governing body was put in that maybe wasn't even the NCAA, but to help regulate this, design the NIL, regulate the NIL, put in the rules in place, and make it better. I just don't understand. The NCAA just can't get anything right. Anything involved in NCAA.
Yeah, it just makes too much sense. People don't want to say they're attached to it. Instead of saying, okay, I want to be the one who set this in motion.
Yeah.
They all ran the other way. Yeah, Emory, right?
And the people that are setting things in motions or setting precedents are having to set precedents multiple times. Because, let's be honest, Tennessee was the first one to pay a high-priced recruit without ever seeing them throw a ball on the college level, which is going to happen regardless. I don't really blame them for it. But now they're the first ones to take a stand. So what are they going to be the first ones next to? Or what's the next first that is going to come back and hurt a college program in some way? It'll be very interested to see what comes next. Because right now, it's just, man, this is bad.
No, for the players, they wanted to keep going right where it is right now.
Hey, the players.
I can't imagine if I was playing. Oh, my gosh, this is crazy kind of money.
Do you think you still would have ended up at Ball State if NIL had existed?
First of all, Ball State doesn't even have any money.
So you're saying
it's
no?
A state-funded school. So it's when I say that, I'm all joking, but nobody's probably making over some little small six-figure number there. I probably would have transferred. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I would have wanted to play against the best. So yeah. And if they were going to pay me to do that, and that's what's going on now with those schools of that mechanisms who are, smaller in nature as far as their funding, they're transferring up, and good for them, So yeah, that's what. Yeah, I would have went for the bag too. Yeah, and I also proved that I could play the next level. See, and that would be a question I would have for draftees. To go to a school like Ball State and start it for 4 years. Where I only started for 3. When I got there and I was a transfer, then I set out. So the rules are different then. So I'm wondering why, well, you were so good. Didn't you want to compete against the best and go get the bag? See, that's what I would ask him. Because then that would let me know a little bit about who he is as a competitor. Because you want to play the best.
Well, I got a prospect for you that I read up on yesterday that went through this exact scenario that the Tennessee Titans actually brought in for a 30 visit. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
we love being part of the moments that matter, which is why we're announcing employee pricing for everyone. You pay what we pay. Employee pricing at Two Rivers Ford. Locally owned, American made.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door. 615-737-1045 is the number. Of course, we have the F&M Bank Chat on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook Live, wherever you get your Zone TV. And, of course, just in case you missed it, last segment, go back to wherever you get your 104.5 The Zone podcast, put in Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons. Hit subscribe, rate, and review. And listen to how we fixed the NCAA. We did it. We did it. I'm very proud of us.
Jackson said he was the ringleader.
He was.
Gronk for Big 12 representative.
There you go. Gronkowski for Big 12 representative. All right, let's go to Doug, who wants to talk about the University of Tennessee. Doug, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. And I don't want to just talk about the University of Tennessee, but I think everybody's failing to forget how this thing of the good, the bad, and the ugly ESPN is sitting around saying, fellas, get all the trailers. We're going to Tennessee. Some of you stop at Vanderbilt and get the Diego Pavia show. The rest of you go to the west of Tennessee and get the Nico show. We got grabthebag.com and we've got screwthencaa.com. The next best 30 for 30s just sitting there waiting right here in Tennessee. I'm out.
There you go. I like it. Next 30 for 30 right here in the University of Tennessee. And, got Diego Pavia and everything going on with, him suing the NCAA to get eligibility, this whole Nico thing. I like it. I like a good sports documentary, Yeah. So when we were talking before the break, after we had solved the NCAA's NIL crisis, I had asked you if you would have, stayed at Ball State or gone to Ball State if NIL had existed. And you talked about that you would always look to try to go up a conference, up your competition.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt.
And you love that when you see prospects do that. Mm-hmm. And so
in this climate.
In this NIL climate. Because that's one of the things that you would ask Savon Revel, right? Mm-hmm. You said that you would wonder why he chose to stay at East Carolina University.
Yeah. And the reason why I say that is because I was at a Division II program my freshman year, and I could have easily just stayed there and kept being an All-American. What was fun is that I wanted to see if I could continually get better and see how I competed because I thought I was a Division I player. So I wanted to prove that I was right.
You're right.
So, and then, you go to Ball State, say, okay, I'm mid-leveling. Now, let me see how good I am with the big boys. Let me go to the Power Four now. Let me see how I stack up. I wouldn't have been chasing the bag, but that would have been a part of it. But I would have been like, I want to prove that I am as good as I think I am. And I want to go against the best.
Well, I wanted to kind of tell you the story because The Beast came out last week, which is Dane Brugler's draft guide, where he goes into all these backgrounds on all these players. Insane. You can go to the Athletic to get that. But there was a guy that I was reading up on yesterday because I've watched him during his Florida games, and I'm like, I don't know about this guy. Where does this guy fit in the draft? And he's really high on Dane's board, and that is defensive tackle number 14 overall from the defensive tackle positions. He deems him a 3rd to 4th round pick, and that is the Cam Jackson, not the big old 400-pound boy from Florida, but the other guy from Florida. And he had an interesting story. And when I was reading this story, Blaine, I was like, I would love to see what you think of this story. And so he ended up getting recruited by LSU, Florida, Louisiana Tech, Mississippi State, Texas A&M. But he grown up dreaming, playing for his home state, LSU. And he got a scholarship offer from LSU and committed there after his junior season. During his senior season, his grades fell.
In high school.
His grades fell below the 2.5 GPA standard for LSU. Now, he took online classes and was dedicated to getting that 2.5 GPA, but it was a little too late when signing day came. So he missed out on signing day. So he found himself in limbo as he waited word from the NCAA on his eligibility. Not wanting to miss out on a scholarship spot, he instead signed with my alma mater, University of Memphis, in June of 2020. But he still had his eyes on the SEC. Mm-hmm. After flirting with the transfer portal following the 2021 season, he officially entered the portal in December 2022, transferred to Florida in January 2023, and took advantage of the extra year of eligibility granted by the NCAA. and returned for a 5th season. He graduated with a degree from Florida, so for the GPA concerns out there. But he did do as many do, opt out of Florida's bowl game. So hearing all that, hearing that he still graduated with a college degree, he tried his best to get in under the deadline for LSU. He always wanted to play in the SEC no matter what, and wasn't going to be stopped in doing so, and actually achieved that and actually got an extra year of eligibility. What does that say about him from your perspective?
Well, I can't say the story is all nice and cozy, but I can say this guy's internally motivated to do the best he can and be the best version of who he can be. Whether it's in the classroom, hey, he had some failures there. Okay, I came up short. He didn't keep fighting. He didn't stop. He didn't let it make him stop. And just like a lot of people just don't have the wherewithal to just fight through that. And just, you're going to say, I guess I'm going to just go not even play. Or he could have even chose the JUCO route. Even
he just stay at Memphis.
Right, yeah. Mm-hmm, he went to Memphis. So, I kind of like that. Only question I want to ask him now is, since you went to Florida, did LSU ever offer you?
I would assume not.
And so when
of course, Ed Orgeron wasn't there anymore because that's the guy who initially offered him.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Right. The guy was gone, but the school is the school, and that's one thing they won't ever change is the school. So I was like, well, how did it feel playing against the school that you dreamed of playing when you were at Florida?
I like it.
It goes to the next level because you always want to prove. I wanted to hear him say, hey, man, I wanted to play my best versus them of any team that we played because of that's the team I dreamed of playing. They never really got to the point where I could go there once I was eligible. So, and they didn't offer me even when I went into the portal for Memphis. So, yeah, I would want to know. And I would go watch that tape. Because he should be showing that they missed out.
Right.
They missed it. They made a mistake. I was a homegrown guy.
So I will tell you this, just looking real quick, he played LSU last year.
Look at the stats.
Yeah, just last year. That was tied for his second best game of the year, and one of the best games in terms of just looking at quick PFF grades. And I don't like PFF grades, but this is just
they're
the
up and
easiest.
Down. Sometimes they're good, sometimes.
But he ended up with 3 pressures on that 2 defensive stops in that game. Of course, nobody ever passed on him because he was a run defender mainly. But he's a nose tackle. But that was, according to them, that was one of his best games, and that was against the team that he always dreamed of playing for, the hometown college team.
So yeah, I think the guy's motivated. Always, trying to grow and learn at the same time. So yeah, I think I like it. I like more if I got to watch him play and see how good he really was. What number was he?
He was number 99.
99. Oh, okay. Yeah. I think I remember seeing him.
He wasn't the big 460 pounder.
No. That was 21.
But he is 6'6", 342, if I'm not mistaken. So he's a big boy himself.
Dang.
They were beefy on that front. A lot of girth.
How were people running on them?
They weren't very well. He is a very, very good run defender with limited pass rush upside. But if you are needing an upgrade over, if you're the Titans, the reason I think they're looking at him, because if you want an upgrade over Keandre Coburn in year 1,
smaller,
Cameron Jackson is the way to go. And we saw that they want to stop the run, right? The run plagued him. So I kind of look at this and I'm like, I see it. I just don't know where he places, in the draft order and the big board. I think Dane Brugler is probably the highest on him that I've seen of anybody. 3rd to 4th round. He even had him going to the Titans in his 7th-round mock draft today. Dane Brugler did.
In the 3rd round?
In the 4th round.
4th round. All right, and by the way, what's all these D tackles coming to the Titans on these visits?
They said building through the trenches. But that is a lot. Because Vernon Broughton is another one that they just brought in as well. There's a lot of defensive tackles. It's very curious. Yeah. When we come back, we'll take you through the 30 visits of the Tennessee Titans, the ones that we have. I think we're up to 28 now for the team. So we'll talk about what those all look like, what they may mean for the team. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
It is 2:01. Good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Jackson Williams. The college football spring transfer portal window opened today, and former Vols quarterback Nico Iamaleava has officially entered the portal with a no-contact tag, according to Pete Nakos of On3. In former Titans news, quarterback Logan Woodside has signed a one-year deal with the Bengals. Woodside was a seventh-round pick of the Bengals in 2018 and played with the Titans from 2019 through 2022. The NBA play-in is underway, and the Memphis Grizzlies fell to the Golden State Warriors 121-116. The Grizz fight to keep their playoff hopes alive as they will play the winner of tonight's game between the Dallas Mavericks and Sacramento Kings on Friday with a first-round spot on the line. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Hour 2 of Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Store. 615-737-1045 is the number. And, of course, we have the F&M Bank Chat on Zone TV, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook Live, wherever you get that. Blaine, we have 20. I've been covering the Tennessee Titans from the draft perspective for a long time. Mm-hmm. We have 28 of 30 visits on record. As the first time in a long time that I can ever remember, it's the highest number. I've never been able to get all 30. But before I tell you all 30, I got to do something because I just forgot. And my producer was not going to he reminded me, but he was not going to get in my ear and remind me again. It's Winning Wednesday with 104.5 The Zone and Nashville Sounds. Be caller number 5 to win 2 tickets to see the Sounds host the Durham Bulls next Wednesday, April 23rd for 90s night at First Horizon Park. The Sounds will have a throwback windbreaker giveaway for the first 1,000 fans, so strap those beepers to your best denim. 90s night is here. Step back in time to the 90s theme night at the ballpark. Relive the best of the 90s with throwback music, retro jerseys, and classic in-game entertainment. Caller number 5 now to win 2 tickets, 615-737-1045. Okay, so we have 28 of the 30 visits. Now, just to give everybody a little bit of background of how the 30 visits typically go, they could be for a myriad of reasons. Mm-hmm. They could be for medical checkups. They could be for major interest, minor interest, rechecks on other things that they have already seen. It could be, the physicals. It could be checking in on maybe a teammate that this player has played with. It could be for a bunch of different things, but we have 28 of 30. Which is very, very good. 2 more left, and my sources tell me those 2 more are defenders. Don't know anything other than that, what position they play or anything, but I've heard that the final 2 are defenders. They have brought in 3 cornerbacks. Quincy Riley out of Louisville, Zal Frazier out of UTSA, so University of Texas San Antonio. He's a fun prospect to watch. He looks like a skeleton out there.
He's skinny.
Yeah, he's very skinny, but he's a fun prospect to watch. He doesn't play skinny.
Right. He's a great. I think I watched him in a game, but I haven't seen him, but I haven't watched.
Jalen Smith, a cornerback out of USC. Cam Jackson, who we just got done talking about out of Florida, defensive tackle out of Florida. TJ Sanders, defensive tackle out of South Carolina, who we've talked about before. Omar Norman Lott, defensive tackle out of Tennessee, which everybody's familiar with. Darius Alexander, defensive tackle out of Toledo, who we did talk about during our prospect show as well. And then, of course, Vernon Broughton, defensive tackle from Texas, number 45, who was 4th on the team in pressures in 2024 after taking over a starting role from Tavondre Sweat and Byron Murphy last year. They've only brought in 2 edge rushers. Abdul Carter out of Penn State, obviously. Femi Oladejo out of UCLA are the only 2 edge rushers they brought in for 30 visits. They've brought in 2 interior offensive linemen, Tate Ratledge from Georgia. Is that right? Why am I just blanking? I believe that's right. Donovan Jackson, who filled in for Ohio State at left tackle when Josh Simmons went down, but he was a guard as well, so he has inside-outside flexibility. Ozzie Trapilio, who is an offensive tackle. Charles Grant, who is an offensive tackle, or the two offensive tackles. 3 running backs, Caleb Johnson, Cam Scatterbo, and Jordan James. 2 safeties, and Xavier Watson, Andrew Makuba, who we talked about with Coach Mack yesterday. Terrence Ferguson is the only tight end. Then they bring in these following wide receivers. And we're putting Travis Hunter as a wide receiver because that's what we believe we would play him at. So that's what we're going to do. Right. Jamal Pritchett, South Alabama. Luther Burden out of Missouri. Dante Thornton out of Tennessee. Kyle Williams out of Washington State. And this one came in last night. Jacoby Kenny James, wide receiver out of UMass. So I know that was a lot of names to get through, a lot of positions to get through. But my main takeaway in this is that outside of wide receiver, the position they have brought in the most, indicating they have shown the most interest in some form or fashion, are the defensive tackles with 5 of them. That is very odd to me.
Yes. What is the percentage breakdown? I know you did it.
I did not do it. The only reason I have not done it is because I was waiting for the final 2, because then I'm also going to get in. But I would say this. Here you go. Here you go. I could do this really quick. I don't know why I'm even freaking worried about it.
It makes me curious because if anything on the team,
18% are defensive tackles.
You would think that's probably the least position that they're in need of. And it's a big D-tackle depth-wise position. So, man, they could get a pretty good player even later, but I don't know if any of these guys are going to be later after
that's the thing.
5th, 6th round. I mean, I think these dudes are probably going to go a little higher than that, huh?
Well, 3 of the 5 are at least 2nd-round players. I mean, TJ Sanders, Omar Norman Lott, and Darius Alexander, they're not going to be there in the 3rd round.
Well, they don't have a 3rd round, but yeah.
Right. Well, that's when. Well, they're not going to be there in the 4th for sure. But I mean, like that. I mean, they're definitely going in the 2nd.
Yeah, that's oh man.
Cam Jackson, maybe he's there in the 4th. I mean, like I said, Dane Brugler has him floating around in that 3rd, 4th range. I think he's a little bit later.
I do too.
And he's also a run-stuffing defensive tackle, and why would you spend a 4th-round pick on that?
I think
and then you have Vernon Broughton, the guy from Texas, who's about a 5th-round pick, which, okay, I can accept a 5th-round pick defensive tackle. But why are we looking at these, really the 4 other players, right? It's really Darius Alexander, Omar Norman Lott, TJ Sanders, and Cam Jackson, wherever you may slot them. Even if you were doing a trade back, do you still want to spend a pick on a defensive tackle and a trade back? Wouldn't you rather use edge and wide receiver? I mean, defensive line does not feel like that is that big of a need, despite the building the trenches motto.
Well, we got to remember also, maybe they're just trying to gain data, or information, not just in particular to these players, but maybe some players they play with. Maybe they're fishing out physicals. There's never a rhyme or reason, and especially with this go-round of this, administration, this is their first go-round. So we really don't know their typical strategy of why they bring certain guys in or not, and there are multiple reasons, I'm sure. But this one doesn't make sense unless, you feel like you don't have depth here. We got Day. You got Big Jeff. I mean,
Devondre Sweat, right? Keandre Coburn.
Yeah,
that's a good 4 rotation. And then you got Draymond Jones who can fill in the pinch.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is a little odd, and maybe so we don't know something. I don't know. Maybe, as you mentioned last week, maybe Big Jeff could be offered on draft day potential. He's collateral. He's probably the biggest collateral they have.
Right.
Let's be honest.
If you can't get a trade back, maybe you get that.
And they may be looking at he's gotten paid, but he's had some injury issues over the last couple of years. And they try to stay ahead of the curve, especially when you start making the big bag, even though he's still a really, really good player. So in this, staff, Berganzi did not draft him. So let's start there. So,
and they do save $8 million against the cap. And
so what would you think he would demand on draft day? Let's just use this as a scenario. Anybody who just turned on the radio, this is a scenario if they traded Big Jeff because they're looking at all these D tackles.
And to be clear, this is not out of the blue, right? Now, they weren't the ones calling to try to trade Big Jeff.
Right.
But at the trade deadline last year, other teams called to inquire about Big Jeff. So why wouldn't more teams? If I was a team that called about Big Jeff and I saw, because I'm sure they have someone on staff that keeps up with every team's 30 visits, and I saw these 30 visits, I'd be like, I'm calling them about Big Jeff. Let's see what's going on with Big Jeff. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would.
Yeah, because that is, I mean, they got a solid group there.
Right.
A solid 5 right there. I just is interesting why they're bringing so many.
And so Leonard Williams got traded for a second and a future 5th. And he was a couple of years older than Big Jeff. So he was already older than Big Jeff is right now. So to me, I'd be looking for a second and third in this year's draft. Now, that may be a little rich.
Right. That's what I said. Would you see if maybe you're trying to recoup your third and you say, would you take a third for Big Jeff right now?
I don't think that would be a big, that's a big one to swallow that I don't know if I could. I wouldn't necessarily be probably as angry as other people would because I would understand the anger from fans. Oh,
well, you're just talking about trading. I'm talking about what you get for him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm talking about for a third. That would be a tough pill for me to swallow. That's tough. But we just saw, and it's a different position, but it is edge rusher. Yeah. But Brian Burns just got traded for a third. You know, like, I mean.
See, so.
But
here's what I'll say. And I know you always do this because it's always what somebody's worth paying, not always getting the line that says this is what you should get.
Yeah.
Well, if you're happy with having a third round this draft, because this
I
is
just
a
couldn't be happy with it. I'd rather have Big Jeff than a
Guess
third.
What? You also get off your books the moolah.
I think here's what I would think, Blaine. And so here's my thought process.
This is how many years he's been in the league?
2019. So this will be his 5th year. Just fifth.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going into his 5th year. 2019, 2020.
This is 5th or 6th there, Jackson. You got
I guess it would be a 6th year. Because I guess you got to count 2019. I don't know what I was doing.
Because he got started late there in the beginning. He had an ACL. So I just think you're standing ahead of. I don't think you lose here. And I get why fans are going to be upset regardless because it's Big Jeff and he's a really good player. But if you get a third rounder, now you're in the mix to get a really solid player, and probably not a defensive lineman, but it could be. Maybe that's why they're bringing him in just in case. And then now you're in game to maybe take a wide receiver if you don't take it with your second pick, or you can go get one of those stud running backs moved down, or maybe some guy that's highly rated at another position you thought wouldn't be available. You now are in play.
The reason I wouldn't like a third is because I know that they likely got offered that more last year at the trade deadline.
You can't let it scar you.
Now, I'm not letting it scar me, but what I'm saying is that I think I could hold on to him and wait till the middle of the season. Again, if we're in a lost season and there's a contender going on, he's playing lights out, then I feel like I can maximize his value. I'm playing a dangerous game. I understand
he may
that.
not play up
he may
to
get
par,
injured.
or he get injured.
Yeah, I understand the risks involved, but then that's also another year because you don't necessarily need the cash. You don't necessarily need the cap space. And maybe that's a year, then later his contract looks even better, and maybe he's a lot easier to trade even after the season. So that's why I would have to get a second and a third myself. I don't think I could just go 1/3. And I don't think I could go to 3rd and 4th, though. I would be tempted. I just don't think I could do that.
Well, when they get that big old injury book on them, like, this is a no can do. We'll give you a third. That's it. We may just give you a 4th. Then you start saying, okay, I got to go. Or you go, whoa, hold on. Let's defer and let's think about this now and play this out.
Yeah.
And then you end up giving the third. And you feel like you win. I know he was a first-round pick, and he's an elite player. But if you think you can get a player that's going to impact the team, whether it's a D tackle or another position that you need collateral. You need picks.
I think I'd be also a lot more open to it if I just didn't remember how the A.J. Brown trade went. I think you think that's scarring too. That's probably preventing a little bit of it.
Never let it go.
No, definitely not. When we come back, we're going to talk about safety and tight end prospects. And I also got a player an NFL player trade I would like to propose to maybe solve our safety issue here at the Tennessee Titans. Minor safety issue. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
I'm available.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors, 615-737-1045. We're going to about to talk some safeties and some tight ends. But first, let's go to Gorilla, who wants to talk about the trade. Gorilla, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Gorilla in the Manila.
Come on, guys. Come on, Blaine. You better than this here, my guy. You mean to tell me we would trade Jeff for a third round? That would be, in essence, that would be us trading Jeff for Snead.
Peanut.
Come on, man, that's crazy. Do you understand? If we got rid of Jeff, I'm through with the Titans. You would lose the entire fan base. Our new stadium would become the world's largest amphitheater or concert hall.
I'm going to make a bet with you right now. Big Jeff will not be on the roster when the stadium opens. What?
Man, well, you know what? Hey, Blaine, man, I love you to death. I'm telling you, the hard.
I'm telling you. Hey, I love him. He's a great player.
You and Davenport are the hardest guys in media to me. You're the hardest guys. Keep it 100 real. I hope that's not the case.
Yeah, I don't
but
think.
But do not trade him this draft. Do not trade him this draft.
Well, we'll give you a hypothetical.
Yeah, okay, well, let's keep it there, man, but that stings. Man, we got Traylon Burks sitting on. Come on, man, A.J. Brown have a ring.
Well, what if we throw in Traylon Burks on the trade and get him out of here? Does that help?
Hey, but
we'll put Traylon Burks and NPF, give them for free.
Cam Ward said he's a top 4 wide receiver. And I wanted to clarify that. I think he meant for the Titans.
Yeah,
man, but nah, man, Jeff, no, we can't do that right now, man. Oh, no, not on any day. Not right now. Not now.
Yeah. Okay. I could be with you on that. I just said don't be surprised. It could possibly happen.
Yeah, it can. We're dealing with the Titans now. Yeah. A.J. Brown. Come on. Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to tell you.
That's what I'm saying. But we would go. I know it.
Would you give Big Jeff a raise? If Big Jeff asked for a raise, would you give him a raise?
I would give Big Jeff a raise.
What?
Yeah. Did you go look at his numbers?
Because no, it's not so much as looking at his numbers. Blaine, you know this here. That inept offense that we had will run the best player in the ground. Come on now. Man. That offense we had, you know that right there, man. Come on, I know you guys have dealt with it, looking like wow. But will we back out on the field again? Dang, come on, McNair.
You cannot give Big Jeff a raise. Come on, man.
I wouldn't give him a raise. I would give her whatever it took. Look, okay, all right.
He's still got 3 years left on his current contract. If he comes asking for you for a raise, I'm treating him like Nico and getting him out of here.
Look, guys, that's in the heat of the moment. We're just shooting right now. You guys talking about getting rid of him. So, hell yeah, give him more money. Right? Okay. So I might not give him a raise.
We were trying to come up with a scenario why they're bringing in all these defensive tackles on these 30
that is crazy, man.
I can't believe that. So, I'm thinking maybe something's up.
Hey, guys, I'm going to hang up.
All right, appreciate it, Dave.
Thanks, Gorilla. We appreciate it.
I got you.
Oh, sorry. I'm always too quick.
So rude.
I am.
He just made my trap, jump around right there. Big Jeff, I felt like just grab my neck.
You saw me. I started banging my head against the microphone. Couldn't believe that someone wanted to give Big Jeff a raise. He's got 3 years left on his contract. He's still like the 5th or 7th highest paid defensive tackle. You don't need no raise.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm with you on that. You got to start affecting get some sacks some more. What was his sack number? Did he have 5 sacks? He had 5 sacks. I don't
sounds
know what
right.
He had. I'm just guessing, to be honest. I have no idea.
Well, if you asked him, he was double teamed on 95% of the plays. That was pretty funny.
Is that not true?
No, it's definitely not even close to being true.
All right on the money, Blaine. 5 sacks last season.
I thought I was going to say 5.5. So, I mean, what is he averaging if you got the stats up? What's he look like he's averaging?
Let me do some math here. This could be tough.
Right at the bottom.
18 over the last 3 years. So that would be, he's averaging 6 a year over the last 3 years.
Compared to the elite D tackles.
And really defensive linemen, right? Yeah. I mean, that's what you really...
Well, I kind of look at the D tackles because he's not a pass rusher guy. He
likes to claim he is.
Yeah, well,
let's talk about safeties.
Yeah. Just like I wasn't an interceptor.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is.
Okay, so what's Chris Jones' stats?
So he is averaging about 30 sacks over the last 3 years, 10 sacks a year.
10 sacks a year. Do you know that's 30 sacks in total? You're averaging 10 sacks. Because you said he's averaging 30 sacks over the last 3 years. That's not right.
Okay, yes, I misspoke. But
there's that 2.3 GPA.
No, 3.2. We would have back.
Yeah, but he's dyslexic, remember?
But he only had 5 sacks last year. He would have averaged even more had he been healthier.
That is true.
Chris Jones is a better all-around player. But remember now, when his contract was up, me included, I'm talking Chris Jones. I'm talking about all the elite D tackles. And the one thing that he hasn't perfected is impacting the quarterback in the pass rush game more often than not. There are games sometimes this year that we didn't hear his name.
Every year.
We didn't hear his name. Like that. When you're elite, go ask Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
He was elite, probably the best, for a long time. So you should be that notch right below that. And I don't think I saw that. There's never a game that I didn't hear Aaron Donald's name.
Yeah, I saw that one. That was making me laugh. He said, trade Jeff, draft the fat kid from Florida, the big 400-pound guy.
Oh, God. Number 21.
Get him and Cam Jackson just to clog up the middle, and Javondre Sweat could turn into your pass rush guy.
Yeah, I want to see at least 8 sacks per year from the D tackle spot, the way he's dominant like he is. And I just think he's come up a little short there. And he's always missing games, too. And that kind of scares you. Remember, he had the elbow issue, and then all of a sudden he was supposed to have a surgery. I don't even think he had surgery. So I don't know what happened with that. I guess nobody reported that he did have surgery. So then the year before he had an ankle issue. So, when you're in the trenches, it's tough sledding. So you want to see the production stay there, and you want to see him stay healthy.
I think you bring up an interesting point that we really haven't really touched on is like how many of these Titans are going to be there. These Titans that all the fans are in love with right now that you can't trade. You have to extend.
That's not just
when the new stadium opens up. Not just Simmons, but Roger McCreary, right?
No,
all these other guys. But I never really thought about it until you said it today. It's like, oh, he's definitely not. I'll bet you money he's not going to be here by the time the stadium opens. And I'm like,
2 more years, right?
Yeah, that's just around the corner.
Yeah.
All right, real quick. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions about safety, and then we'll talk about tight ends as well. So at safety, what's the most important trait that you're looking for when you're watching the safety film?
People are going to laugh at me.
Go ahead.
For me, it's read and react. How fast and quickly does he process information?
Yeah.
Really. Because the average solid safety, like a Malachi Moore, he does this. And so I get consistency throughout a game. Now, there's other players much more talented than him, as we've talked before, the Watts, and we can go down the list of the Stark, all these guys, Georgia guy. But at the same time, if they're not reading and reacting as quickly as him, they're not processing the information. Now, that's not to say they can't be taught. See, so you don't know that, though. And so there's eye discipline involved. And then, there's footwork. Is he versatile? I love versatility in the safety position. You got to be able to cover. You got to be able to 2 deep. You got to come down in the run for him. You got to feel. Got to be a good open field tackler. There's a lot of different things. I like those guys. And sometimes you may be just good at all those areas, but not great at one. And, some of these guys are great at a couple, and then they're just okay at the other. I want to be solid across the board. And that's probably why I keep bringing up Malachi Moore, because that's what I see when I see him. I think I see an NFL player already playing consistent throughout, doing multiple things, which is really hard. And so depending on what scheme and system you're in, you'll rise to the top sooner than later. So, some of these guys are, man, they so gifted now and so big. It's just, it's kind of insane. Like I even like the Bowman guy from Oklahoma, but he gets a little overly aggressive and misses a lot of tackles. And then when he's in the hole, when I say hole, I'm in deep middle.
Yeah.
He goes for the okie doke, and he's not patient in his pedal. I remember when I was there, and I'd be just going for every little fake thing, and I'm still, coming down for a run play.
Right.
So those are the little things that they can all be taught, but you don't know. So Watts,
So I want to stop you on Watts real quick, because you brought up something. You were saying that every time you watched film of a safety player, you went back to either watch film Malachi Moore or look at your notes on Malachi Moore. And then you'd watch a game, and then you go of another safety, and you go back and look at Malachi Moore. And you said that Xavier Watts does something you just don't really like, and you think it's because of his background from when he switched positions. But Xavier Watts, big ball production, right?
Yes, he's got great ball skills.
Yeah.
And here's why I don't. He's always looking in the backfield.
Right.
And that, in the league, that'll get you in trouble all day long. In college, he could recover. So if he gets his eyes right, he can be elite.
Right.
Like on a whole nother level.
How coachable is that?
I think it is. It's just some guys can't do it consistently over and over and over. And I played with some guys, they couldn't do it. I mean, like consistent. They could do it for, a handful of plays or maybe even a half. But that was the difference. And those are the little small things that they didn't know where to put their eyes. And then you go into this hyper-focus mode and the stadium turns quiet and the play starts and you hear nothing until the play ends. Where other guys, they can't
Gotcha.
do it. So I can't predict what Watts could be, but his traits are there. And I love his ball protection. I think instinctively he's a free safety because he likes to look at the quarterback and he has great ball skills and is always around the football making plays. So you can't take that away from him. He was that. But, man, when he was in the box, he was always looking at the quarterback instead of looking. The tackle would tell him if it's a run pass. He would never look at them.
We've talked about Lathan Ransom. We've talked about Malachi Moore. We've talked about Xavier Watts just now. We talked about Andrew Makuba yesterday as well.
Bowman.
Give us another guy that maybe that is being under-discussed or kind of flying under the radar that you really liked what you saw on tape.
Well, a guy that was all over the place I was talking about was I asked Coach Mack. He's at Ohio State, 6'1", 210. Lathan Ransom. I thought just a safety, pure safety, not, covering, just a guy plays free and strong, can do both really well, and then brings the hammer and plays with the intensity that you need in this league. He surprisingly kept coming up, and I go, man, this guy, he's super physical in the run game, great ball skills. He's a blitzer. There was a lot of things he can do at the safety. I never saw him really covering, though, so that's okay. So you got to know that he's just that guy like that. So I like what I saw out of him. There were some other guys like him, too. The Sanker guy, you always saw him coming downhill, the Virginia kid. He was a really big guy. There was DNA, R.J. Mickens. His son, his dad played, we went to A&M. His dad was a corner. This guy's a safety. He's kind of grown into his body. He's a 6 feet, 205 guy. Very athletic, side to side, had some cover skills too as well. Fluid in his hips. He also had all the versatility, and he was smart. So I kind of like those guys. So they kind of under the radar guys that you probably could get, fifth round and afterwards. Yeah, I think they'll be good, solid players.
There is a guy, real quick, Maxon Hook from Toledo.
Oh, I did not see him.
And he's number 25.
I think I saw him play Ball State, I think.
And I talked about him at the Senior Bowl because he kept flashing up off the page. Caleb Bransall, guy from Tulane, that you talked about yesterday. Mm-hmm. And, of course, Jonas Sanker. And I just got done writing, the reason why he's so fresh on my mind, I just got done writing his profile up for me and Stoney's draft guide that we do. Mm-hmm. And I look at it and, to me, I love that he had to be almost dragged off the field during Senior Bowl week. You had to basically, coaches have to go out there. He wasn't coming out. Some guys will go out and rotate willingly. They kind of get the process. He's like, I'm just going to try to sneak on and stay out here. He is just over 6 feet, 202 pounds. So he's just at the borderline of what you're looking for from your safety. Yeah. Above average athleticism. He had a 4.55 40. Really, I think it was a 4.2 something, 3 cone. So he's got the short air explosion. He's got enough, all that.
I'm go check him out.
He's got aggressive nature, which sometimes can be a weakness for safeties. And while it wasn't a massive weakness, it does lead to mistakes just minorly in the run game. Mm-hmm. And he has the 10th best run missed tackle rate in the class. But what you're seeing is that it could have been even better if he just wasn't so he's basically like Sonic the Hedgehog, just blowing by people. A missile, huh? He's like a missile. He's fearless. He plays at a high octane level constantly. And so all that to be said, he's really good against the run because he's a quick diagnoser. Uh-huh. He knows his run fits so well. It's just those moments where he's going after a guy and he's just a little too over aggressive in his pursuit.
Tackles. What about his ball skills in playing in the hole?
He's pretty good. I mean, like, he's not an elite guy as far as,
ball tracker.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have a lot of interceptions. Only has like 4 pass breakups. But he reminds me a lot of Quinion Mitchell in the sense that he's always all up in the pass catcher's grill.
Oh,
like it doesn't matter if you outsize him, if you're faster than him. It doesn't matter because of his fluidity and his quick diagnosing skills. He's always in your hip pocket, and it doesn't matter how big you are, how small and fast you are. He is right there. I called him a helicopter mom, hovering over the pass catchers with protection and aggression, not letting you out of his sight or reach, no matter what. And that's what I love about him. And he's just one of those guys. I feel like he's just going to be making plays for the Eagles, though. So I'm sure the Eagles will probably draft him.
They do a good job of scouting the guys that fit their schemes.
And they drafted a Toledo guy last year. And sometimes when you find great success, Quinion Mitchell, when you find great success from a school and you find a guy like this in the 5th round, 4th round, I think they have 3 4th-round picks. The Eagles do. Dang. I wouldn't be surprised if he's not playing for the Eagles.
They saw him last year when he was scouting the other kid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they did.
They did. So that's one of the safeties I really like right there. So, I look at it and I love all the safeties we've talked about.
Let's not forget the Texas. I like the Texas
Makuba.
Yeah. Ooh-wee.
I like Andrew Makuba. Craig Woodson from California is a good 6th-round draft pick as well. I think he's got good size. He's a guy that's going to have to, come up, all right? Like, some of these guys aren't going to be starting opposite Amani Hooker this year. Mm-mm. But when you're looking in the 5th or 6th round, you're looking for guys that are going to be starting next year. Because guess what? This is Amani Hooker's last year.
What about your guy at South Carolina, the freak? The 6'3", 220-pound freak of nature, physical. I mean, it looked like he could pretty much do it all. It's just they use him more so close to the line. But, man, I saw him running and being deep, and covering. I was like, hey, man, I think this guy can do more.
Outside of Malachi Starks, he's the only safety I see going in the 1st round. And I hate to try to pronounce his name. Right? Yeah, I hate to try to pronounce his name. I'm going to try it right here. Imanwari.
Yeah, that's it.
Imanwari, Nick Imanwari. And this dude just hits every note. It was similar to kind of like Malachi Starks, except for he's got the size, he's got the athleticism, he's got the production. He hits all 3 check marks. Like Malachi Starks is good, but he didn't really show off the athleticism. And the production wasn't as consistent as Nick's was, the South Carolina guy. So, like, I look at it and I go, man, I'd be very curious to see how they react if he was there at 35. Not saying the Titans should draft one, but there would be a good chance that if they're going best player available, he would likely be the best player available because he's that good.
Yeah, that would be a conflict, man, because I just don't see him not taking, man. I don't know why I'm convinced they're going to take a wide receiver there, but I'm probably totally wrong.
Someone asked if we're going to talk about Shiloh Sanders. We are not. Okay, so that will do it for us on our draft prospect. When we come back, we're going to talk about Cam Ward and how it's just Cam Ward's world, and we're all just loving it. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
I'm ready to hire him. Have you noticed how unreliable things have become these days? Like when someone tells you it'll be ready at 4 p.m. and it's not. And people are really tired of that stuff. So if you're really tired of the unreliable repair shops, come on over to Eurofix. And Eurofix turn unreliable into reliable. And Eurofix has your vehicle ready when it's really ready so you don't have to stand around and wait all freaking day. And Eurofix repairs all European cars with quality that beats the dealer and without the dealer pricing. And that's because dealer repair shops are designed to pay virtually all of the dealership's overhead, and that's a lot of money. And why would you want to pay for that? Well, at Eurofix Reliable also means a 3-year nationwide warranty plus a free loaner car with every repair appointment. So make sure you call ahead as loaner cars are very, very, very popular. So if you're tired of the unreliable repair shops, come on over to Reliable, and that'll be Eurofix. Family owned for 26 years. And all you have to do is just give them a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right, 844-EUROFIX, or you can visit them online at myeurofix.com. That's my Eurofix.com. Oh, someplace, you.
Fate of the universe on the line, or the Martians have the death beam pointed at Earth, you better hit it. I want
Trailing Burks.
That is, of course, Max Kellerman, right? Jackson? Max
Yes,
Kellerman?
that was Max Kellerman on Get Up in, I believe, 2016, talking about the 2016 Warriors.
Yeah, he would rather have Andre Iguodala over Klay Thompson and Steph Curry taking the shot. And then he put in Traylon Burks over because last night Cam Ward got on Twitch, played some Fortnite. Titans fans, because they are just weirdos, obviously got alerts on their phone for whatever Cam Ward does.
You wasn't playing Fortnite? You not Fortnite?
No, I was playing video games though when this started going on. I was playing Marvel Rivals. I'm a different kind of nerd. But then of course Cam Ward is being asked all these questions, and I'll say this: he is hilarious. You gotta at least give him that. I think it's hilarious because these bits.
This is great content.
Commitment to a bit is very important to me in the world of comedy. And this is a commitment to a bit. So you know what, Jackson? You love this the most out of the three of us. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do something that probably everybody else in the studio would not allow.
And that you're going to regret.
I'm going to probably regret it. I'm going to let you host this segment.
Oh, it's Brucey's time to shine. Let's go. So we're going to start here. I think this was the first clip. He was asked in his stream what the top running backs in the NFL were. He gave two obvious answers to the bit, but I thought the two answers he gave after are just as committed to the bit.
Top 4 running backs in the league right now? I would say Tony Pollard, Spears.
Okay. So after this, he said Alvin Kamara, and Derrick Henry, two running backs who are also beloved in the state of Tennessee. And the commitment is top tier from Cam Ward here.
I think it's so smart. Like this is smart comedy. People don't think it is, but this is really smart comedy. And he's really funny if you go back and watch the Shadur clips of them training and everything, he's like, oh yeah, your completion percentage is only so high because of all your screen passes and stuff. But this is smart comedy because this continues for the whole thing.
He is then asked his top 4 wide receivers in the NFL, and this is where it gets even more interesting.
Okay, so y'all already said Ridley, Jamar, Justin.
I think Jason Jamar is like the top.
And then for my last one, Traylon Burks. A.J. Brown's a dog, but he's not Calvin Ridley.
A.J. Brown's a dog, but he's not Calvin Ridley. And Traylon Burks at the end. This is... I don't think I've ever seen this from a draft prospect.
And we just had Gorilla call in saying he wanted to trade one of Cam Ward's favorite wide receivers. Can you believe that?
Oh, man.
What's funny about this is that he can only name Traylon Burks as the only other Titans wide receivers. That should tell you how bad the Titans wide receiver room is. Think about that.
I know. That's why I said they got it. I'm thinking the 35th pick. I know we're talking about. I'm like, but don't they have to? But I don't know what to expect out of this, administration. It's new. So, I don't know, man. It could be a highly rated running back to your cornerback. I don't know what's going on, what's needed. I don't know. They may go in a different direction.
Now, I don't know if you got this clip. Do you have the clip of what he compared him and Calvin Ridley to in the NFL?
No, but I know what you're talking about. He said it's like Joe Montana and Jerry Rice.
He said
him and Calvin Ridley.
Me and Calvin Ridley look like Joe Montana and Jerry Rice.
Oh, my. You're so stupid.
I love it because you know what? This first got on my radar because someone was actively live tweeting it. Oh, and I think they were actually taking everything seriously. And I could see Titans fans today. I could really see some of them having conversations at lunch.
Oh, man.
They're on their lunch break having conversations saying, yeah, my quarterback, people are comping him to Joe Montana. I can see someone doing that.
Oh,
Zach,
no.
What are you talking about? Max Kellerman had this to say.
Fate of the universe on the line, or the Martians have the death beam pointed at Earth. You better hit it. I want
Traylon Burks.
Is that more? Do you need any more analysis?
No, I mean, Max Kellerman got it right for once in his life. Okay, what you got next?
Oh, my.
Our third and final clip from this glorious Cam Ward live stream. He was then asked his top NFL coaches, and this is what he had to say.
Well, I'm not naming top 5. I'm naming 5 head coaches I like. Number 1.
In the NFL right now?
Number 1, Brian Callahan. Number 2, Stefanski.
Okay.
Number 3, Brian Dayball. Number 4,
I think I'm starting to see the pattern.
Pete Carroll. Number 5, Aaron Glenn.
All right. So did you see the first 3 were the NFL draft order? A notable omission.
The Giants?
Former Titans head coach Mike Vrabel, who is now with the Patriots, who are sitting at 4. He went straight to Pete Carroll. And so
because they don't need a quarterback.
They don't need a quarterback, and maybe he knows Titans fans. There's a little ill will there. Maybe he's
skip Jacksonville. So
skip the division rival. I mean, I think this is excellent politicking from Cam Ward.
It is. It's beautiful. Like, to me, this is great. Now, I will say I'm taking over now. You did a good job, Jackson.
Not going to get fired.
Give you an A- on the hosting ability. There was one thing I did find interesting. Now, it's not some massive takeaway because this happens all the time.
Right.
But he did say that he told Mike Bergonzi he failed. He failed. Where is from Boston? I'll start over. So Cam Ward said on the live stream that he told Mike Bergonzi, the general manager of the Tennessee Titans, that he should draft Xavier Restrepo, his teammate, and all that kind of stuff. We've seen Caleb Williams do the same thing with Rome Odunze. We've seen C.J. Stroud do the same thing with Tank Dell. So this is very commonplace for a quarterback to fight for their guy, to recommend, I guess you would say, their guy. I mean, I don't think it's any kind of deal breaker. You can't draft me unless you draft Xavier Restrepo. But I did find that interesting that he did end up saying that.
Odunze went to the same school as Caleb Williams?
No, they trained leading into the draft. Okay. They met up at some point, became friends, and trained the whole way through. Pre-combine and after.
Since he said that means that absolutely will not happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, the more I watch Restrepo, I'm not happy with what I see. I'm not. Yeah, he got a little fat gene to him too.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What do you mean by that? Do you
I look
ankles?
I saw him in the body build, chubby build, and receiver just don't mix, and that is a problem. Then you go run a 4.7. No.
So do you think it's hard for him to keep the fat off? Like,
I don't know.
It's hard for me, but
he was like 205 or whatever he was. Shoot, he may want to move to running back. See.
Yeah. Maybe that's why they're going to draft him. They are looking at running backs. Maybe they draft him to turn him to a running back.
I doubt.
Of course, he's not fast enough to do that.
No, that's what I said. I doubt if we're going to do that. That's why I said I don't know, man. Kyle Williams, that's his name at Washington.
Yeah, that's the one you should be stumping for, which I think he did at one point.
He did mention his top wide receivers in the draft, and Kyle Williams was in that list.
Yeah, he looked better on film to me.
What round would you, Zach, be comfortable drafting Xavier Restrepo?
Oh, like the 6 at this point. And I loved Xavier Restrepo. Like,
if he's there in the 6, I'm cool with that.
3 wide receivers, just real quick. 3 wide receivers that I was so high on that after watching the tape and then also seeing their testing, I'm like, oh no. Was Xavier Restrepo, Ricky White, the 3rd out of UNLV, and LeJontay Wester out of Colorado. I just don't know where you draft those guys, even if you draft them at all. Because they got the technique, they got the talent, but they don't have the size or athleticism that you need at the next level. Mm-hmm. And sometimes Ricky White could not separate against whoever UNLV division plays, FCS guys. And if you can't separate against FCS guys, you can't ever separate over. It was very heartbreaking to go and reevaluate Ricky White in real time. It sucked.
Restrepo did it against some high level, ACC. So, I mean,
he's got the talent, but man, that's a real athletic risk. Yeah, and he's a little chubby boy, according to Blaine. Yeah. All right, that'll do it for us here on Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons on 104.5 The Zone. 3HL's up next. They're live from the Twin Peaks in Madison, so go out and see them if you're in the area. So in the meantime.
And in between time, peace.